Great, thanks so much, Tara. Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'm here with Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex.
And we're here to share the findings from our new report, Sustainability Communications Need to Get Real. We're going to share a top line of what we've discovered from our research, and at the end of this talk, we'll share a link to the new report if you wish to find out more. So we work with clients every day to help them address sustainability issues. And what we're seeing is a growing conversation around action on environmental and social issues. Yet at the same time, these issues seem to be worsening. And we find this quite troubling, and it's something we really wanted to dig into. So we worked really closely with our partners at the Relative Insight team to look into these conversations online to try and find out what was happening. I'll hand over to Alex, who can take you through that in a bit more detail.
Thanks, Jamie. So Relative Insight helps you analyse and visualise text data. So originally, like Tara was saying, we were born out of the need to keep children safe online. So our tool compared online conversations so that we could identify when someone wasn't a 13-year-old girl, but was in fact a 40-year-old man. And now we use that comparative methodology to work with brands and agencies like Ogilvy to help them get great insights out of any text data. So think surveys, social, CX data as well. So we use this comparison methodology to understand how 3 different audiences talk about sustainability: brands, the general population, and the media. When we analysed the language of these audiences, what we found was a disconnect in conversation, and I'm going to take you through some of those disconnections now. One of the first disconnects that we found was that businesses speak about large-scale operations, so very big picture thinking, whereas the Gen Pop are focused very much on what is tangible, the daily, the immediate, what can they see happening now that is making an impact, and what can they do today. A nice bit of data that we found that helped create this insight was this one around the infinite use by the general population, which means that basically brands didn't say these phrases at all in their comms when we were analysing that language. Zero waste, plastic bags, eating meat, and sustainable travel. So this highlights a real disconnect in the priorities of those 2 audiences. Another one that we found was that in the media there's a key focus on the journey that businesses are on. So again, if we think back to that sort of making it tangible for the general population, they actually get quite frustrated with this and see it as inaction from the brands, that they're not focusing on the now. And a great quote that brings this to life: "The thing that gets me is the hypocrisy from stores who make bold claims around being sustainably focused when their system clearly isn't set up for it." And the final one that I'll take you through is that businesses call attention. So they want everyone to think about and talk about their sustainable strategies. They talk a lot about it. This is really frustrating for the general population because we can see that their choices, and they feel as well that their choices are being restricted and they're not able to make that decision for themselves in terms of how they can contribute to their sort of sustainability efforts. And again, another really nice quote that brings this to life: "Choose to feed my family or hit some abstract emissions target. I know what I choose."
Yeah, thanks, Alex. It's a really powerful quote, that one, isn't it? And I think what it shows is that corporates and brands, they're operating at a very high level and they're using a technical vocabulary that is not connecting with the real reality that their audiences or that the general population see. We're talking about the same issues in sustainability, but it's like we're speaking a different language to one another. And this is a problem because this disconnected conversation, we believe, is dividing us at a time when we really need to be coming together to deal with many of these sustainability issues. We've defined this problem. We call this the action connection dilemma. Businesses are taking action, but they're not communicating about those actions in a way that connects with the reality of their audiences. Ultimately, sustainability has presents many systemic challenges, and we're going to require all of these audience groups to come together to take action on them. And that starts by talking to each other in ways that we can all understand. And it's not just that conversation, the initial conversation that's a problem, it's the effects that starts to have. So we're seeing the general population is becoming 5 times more likely to associate conversations around sustainability with misinformation. They're hearing what businesses are saying, but because it doesn't connect with their reality, they don't believe it's true. And in turn, we're starting to see a really negative emotional response to many of these issues. We're seeing sadness overriding happiness in terms of the emotions associated with the conversations happening. And again, this is a problem because ultimately, to create the enabling conditions we need to see change and progress, we would hope to see a positive and optimistic conversation happening. Now, the research isn't all doom and gloom, and it does point towards some opportunities for businesses to better connect their efforts with the realities of their audiences. We're seeing really strong calls for both leaders and leadership, and we believe that signals there's a space for businesses to really step up and talk about the work that they're doing, but again, critically in ways that connect with the reality their audiences are facing. And in turn, sustainability is still seen as a key factor in any purchase decision. It's just about how that decision is framed. So we've seen from some respondents that when sustainability is seen as an easy thing to do, then they're very keen to do it. Again, it's all about how do you frame the work that you're doing and how do you frame that in terms of the benefit that provides to your end audience. So in summary, our research has discovered that there is a disconnect between the ways in which businesses are communicating about the actions they're taking and the realities in which their audiences, the general population, are actually experiencing many of these issues. And we believe this disconnect is dividing us at a time in which we must come together. Now, it wouldn't be a talk like this without us also setting up that we think there's a solution to that problem. And that's why I'm really pleased to be able to invite on stage my colleague Jordan from the behavioural science practice, who's going to talk about how we can apply a deep understanding of human behaviour when designing communications to help bridge some of these gaps and to help close that action connection dilemma.
Amazing.
Come on, Jordan.
Thank you very much, Jamie. Thank you. So there are lots of ways that we can use behavioural science to overcome this action connection dilemma. I'm going to take us through 5 key behavioural science strategies that we can use to make our communications as effective as possible. So first up, if your actions just aren't connecting, so if your audience just aren't reacting in the way that you thought they should, try reframing your message in order to tailor it to your specific audience. So for example, whether you're more assertive or more suggestive in what you're saying should depend on whether your audience already care about the cause that you're championing. Next, if people feel disempowered, so if people just feel like my individual actions don't really make a difference, then consider highlighting the collective effort. So talk about the behaviours of others or how social norms are changing, really pull that social lever in order to spur behaviour change. Next, if the problem just feels too overwhelming, and this is often something that we see in sustainability challenges, then it can be really powerful to focus on the solution and positivity rather than the challenge. So give people actionable steps that they can take, really boost their self-efficacy, rather than necessarily using negativity in order to spur change. If the issue feels too abstract, so if that psychological distance is just too great for people, then make it more tangible, make it more concrete. So if you can focus on the consequences that are really in the here and the now and today, it makes it far more tangible for people rather than thinking about the long-term future. And finally, if the facts just aren't working, then consider drawing on people's lived experiences. So use storytelling rather than statistics in order to boost engagement with your message. Now, as a species, we're hardwired to respond to narratives about people far more than we are to respond to anonymous facts and figures. So allow your audience to empathise with what you're saying by drawing on people's lived experiences. So there we have it, 5 key behavioural strategies for addressing the action connection dilemma. Jamie, back to you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jordan. So we hope you've enjoyed the talk today. As we say, this was a summary of a report that we've written that is now available. If you scan the QR code, they're back in vogue. On screen now, you'll be able to find the link and find out more. Thanks very much for listening to us today.
Just one favour, if you want to keep Nudgestock free, click the like button because the algorithm likes it, and click the subscribe button too. The algorithm likes that, and unlike the like button, it's actually useful because you'll get notified of future content from Nudgestock whenever it becomes available.